Alright, it's been like a couple months. He might be alive, he might be dead, but I really want to play Sonic Adventures, so we'll just see what happens.
Oh, hey!
Okay, well, he's not dead. Anyway, so you seem to be doing pretty alright.
Oh, not at all!
Okay, and why is that exactly?
Oh, this weird thing is chasing me, and if it catches me, I might, like, die or something.
Well, that's unfortunate. Hey, wanna listen to me talk about creepypastas for a while?
I'm in real big danger here, what do you think?
Well, here we are again, huh? Time to talk about some more terrifying tortellini. This time I got a... Oh, wow, you guys really like this stuff, huh? Well, because of that, I got an absolute ton of requests, like, way more than I can even count. So just like last time, I went for a variety of topics, covering some of the most popular ones, while also getting to a couple of the less popular requests as well. And surprisingly, a whole lot of these were ones I had read before and just forgot about. It's kinda weird. But before we start, I got a bit of a change up here. You see, right here is where I usually ask for your requests, both good and bad for the next part. But in the next video's case, it's kind of a special one. Sure, you can technically request whatever you want, but this time I want to hear requests for the absolute worst things related to creepypasta you can think of. Yes, I'm talking about cringy, edgy stories, of course, but I'm also talking everything else. Fan art, OCs, fan comics, fan fictions, just whatever garbage you can think of. I want all of it. I don't know if I can take all of it, but I still want all of it. Also, for specific things like fan art or comics, it's actually best to send it to my Twitter, so yeah, head over there if you want. Also, just like last time, there's going to be a bit of a gap between this one and part 5. So with all that out of the way, let's get to those terrifying tortellini, shall we? So you know who's scary? Well, not Luigi. But I guess someone thinks he is, because next we have the Super Mario World creepypasta, I Hate You, and he's the main bad guy for some reason. So as the story goes, this guy finds a super secret level in Super Mario World, one which supposedly completes the plot of the game, but not really. Mario basically goes through one death trap after another, including a bunch of dead Marios chasing him before he finds out that, oh no, Luigi was the bad guy the whole time and was working with Bowser and was evil, apparently. Luigi then tries to kill Mario, which is kind of weird because he's had several opportunities to do this later and never really tries it, but okay. Apparently we're supposed to believe he'd do it here. Sure. Then Luigi dies. So I'm just gonna be real here, this one ain't great. The entire story is written in this, oh wow, I'm not like other creepypastas kind of way, which is funny because no, it's exactly like other creepypastas. It's also just not scary or believable or even really that great. It also can't really rely on being entertaining in a bad way either. It's just kind of bad. I wouldn't really recommend checking this one out, honestly. So you've probably heard of lost episode creepypastas. They're like the McDonald's of creepypasta. Super easy to make, not that high a quality, and somehow despite that, they're everywhere. But did you know that there are lost episode creepypastas for YouTubers? And yes, they're just as magical as you're probably imagining. So yeah, someone actually decided to make these, and even stranger is that I got several requests to cover these, so why not, I guess? So did you know that apparently there's a lost episode of the Nostalgia Critic? Well, that's what the Creepypasta Nostalgia Critic lost episode has you believe. So this guy is just surfing around when he comes across an alternate Nostalgia Critic account claiming to have a review the main character has never seen. His review of Barney's Great Adventure, which is probably scarier than this entire story. He clicks on it, and from there the story just becomes kinda nuts. It starts with Doug Walker just crying for a while, and then after a bit he starts running around killing all the characters from the Nostalgia Critic. Actually, you know what, now I think about it, it doesn't sound that weird. It just sounds like a typical episode of the Nostalgia Critic. And then Doug decides to commit long nap, leaving hyper-realistic blood all over the place. Then the video ends, and instead of, I don't know, downloading the video for proof, the main character leaves the video and then it gets deleted. And that entire progression of that story, that's essentially how all of these YouTuber creepypastas go. Angry Video Game Nerd creepypasta. Guy finds a lost review of E.T., which actually that review exists now, so I don't really get it. AVGN gets really sad, destroys stuff, commits long nap, and the video gets deleted. GameGrumpsBerry.avi. Guy finds an unseen Game Grumps episode, everything seems sad and off, and then the Game Grumps all die. Like, seriously, these are all the freaking same. And actually, I'm not just talking about the YouTube ones. Every single lost episode creepypasta follows the exact same pattern with tons of edge and tons of hyper-realistic blood to go around. And honestly, I kinda have a soft spot for them. Like, they're not good, ever, but they're weirdly entertaining for some reason. So who likes consistent patterns? Well, apparently me, because just like the other 3 parts, we have some Pokemon creepypastas. What can I say? There's like 5,000 of these things and people keep asking for them, so I keep delivering. So first up we have Pokemon Strangled Red, one I'm surprised I haven't covered thus far. Somebody who's trying to re-experience Pokemon Red ends up getting a hold of a copy only to find out it's completely normal and nothing happens. The end. Oh, except for the part where none of that happens and the game is actually a creepy ROM hack. Though I say creepy, it's really not creepy, it's kinda just sad more than anything. It tells the story of a trainer who becomes the champion only using his beloved Charizard Miki. But the good times, they don't stay, and eventually Miki dies in a tragic accident, leaving the trainer devastated. And slowly but surely, the trainer goes off the deep end. This is probably the best Pokemon creepypasta I've read for one of these videos, and I actually remember liking this when I was a kid too. It's pretty well written for one of these ROM hack creepypastas, and it's not overly edgy or anything. It's just a little sad and kind of a good story. I'd highly recommend this one if you're in the mood for some Pokemon creepypastas. And hey, the other Pokemon creepypasta we have today is also pretty cool. Buried Alive is an urban legend surrounding the first generation of Pokemon games. Supposedly in the Japanese version, there was an unused boss in the code named Buried Alive, this creepy looking zombie dude. Supposedly you'd have to fight him at the top of Pokemon Tower, and if you lost the fight to him, then he's gonna be having some fresh meat for dinner. Anyways, yeah, this one's actually pretty neat, especially because just like the Lavender Town Syndrome one, this is more of an urban legend than a creepypasta, which gives it kind of a cool feeling. It's like, oh, is this real? Is it not? Who knows? Except we actually do know it's not real, don't fall for it. Alright, after those, I feel like we need a little more edge, you know what I'm saying? Well, thankfully our next two subjects got pretty much nothing but that. Laughing Jack and Eyeless Jack are pretty much in the same category as the Jeff the Killer clones we talked about in part 3. Those being the dark, scary characters that actually aren't that scary and are probably used for fanfiction fodder quite frequently. Laughing Jack is an evil, scary clown spirit that hunts children, because of course he does. He's known for his signature scary laugh, which is probably why he's called Laughing Jack. Always creative naming with these ones. But yeah, on the positive end, at least he's like a spirit or something, meaning that when he kills people, it's at least slightly less ridiculous. I mean, compared to some random boy running around cutting people and somehow never getting caught by the police, like, ever, at least the spirit makes more sense in that regard. Like, he's a ghost, what are you gonna do, send him to ghost jail? But yeah, otherwise, typical edgy OC. And speaking of a typical edgy OC, Eyeless Jack is like all the others, but this time he has a gimmick of being really lame. He's this dude who breaks into other people's homes, eats their organs or something. And can you guess why he's called Eyeless Jack? Come on, just a little it's because he doesn't have any eyes, what a surprise. Real talk, not a fan of this one. Like, it's not very interesting and it's not a well-written character, but it also can't rely on the pure edge that makes Clockwork so funny. He's just kind of boring. Yeah, sorry for the people who are fans of this character, I'm just not into it. And speaking of boring real quick, a lot of people asked me to talk about another sequel to Sonic.exe, that being the game Sally.exe. And I say game because the story is essentially just a retelling of the game. So yeah, Sally.exe is basically the same as Sonic.exe, with Mr. Bleedle Mouse himself killing characters in brutal ways. Jeez, frick, that's not even scary, it's just like, boom, she's dead, wow. The only difference here is, they're all girls. Wow, so different. And at the end, Sally herself, a Sonic character from a cartoon I didn't watch who I'm terrified to look up on Google, she gets crushed. The end. Yeah, I prefer the other Sonic.exe stuff. Even round 2, as bad as it was at least, well, a story. This is just more Sonic.exe killing people. It's not really that interesting. Next up is one I got a lot of requests to cover, and one that I'm honestly kind of weirded out that I haven't talked about before this point, the Rake. The whole cool thing about the Rake is that it's left really mysterious, and that's actually a major part of the lore surrounding its story. The Rake was this strange humanoid creature that stalks people, portraying a variety of different behaviors, from acting just a little bit weird, to killing people, to actively messing with his victims. Heck, potentially even for fun. And you see, that's the thing. While the creature is implied to have been around for hundreds of years, seemingly all documentation and accounts on this mysterious being seem to have disappeared for some reason. We never really get a serious explanation as to what exactly the Rake is. And surprisingly, that's kinda cool. I like the lack of clear information, and it makes him way scarier. It's also implied to be part of the Slenderverse as well. How about we put a pin on that Slenderverse thing for right now? Also, what's interesting is that the Rake almost reminds me of the kinds of things that you'd see in the SCP Foundation. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that whole thing. So a ton of people have asked me to discuss the SCP Foundation, and as much as I want to talk about it, this series is just not the place to do that. It's such a massive subject that trying to condense it down into 1 minute long segment is just not feasible. Down the road, I intend to do a full video on the SCP Foundation, so if you have any specific ones you want me to mention, I guess put them in the comments. But in the meantime, yeah, it's super cool, and it gets really, and I mean really weird. So after I talked about marble hornets in the last video, boy that opened up the floodgates for a ton of requests from the other Slenderverse series. Yeah, some of you might not know this, but there are multiple video series surrounding Slenderman, though they don't usually call him the Slenderman. So since all of these are super long, I decided to go purely for the most requested one, Tribe 12. So Tribe 12 stars a guy named Noah, who just lost his cousin and is slowly but surely finding out that there's a little bit more going on here. He begins getting essentially stalked by a mysterious group, at the head of said group being Slenderman. As time goes on, things get crazier and crazier, with the group messing with Noah more and more, several freaky discoveries about the nature of those around him coming about, and even some crossovers with the other Slenderverse video series. I think this one is still ongoing, but the entire series is just super neat. The production is a massive improvement over Marble Hornets, even having these super cool stylized videos every once in a while, and the pacing of this series is just really solid. Legit, the only thing that feels really subpar about it is the acting, because boy, it's pretty bad at times. Otherwise though, it's a cool video series. Better than Marble Hornets, I'd argue, and is really worth checking out if you're into this sort of thing. Still not scared of Slenderman, but hey, he's a lot cooler to me now at least. Alright, well before we get to the final topic for this video, it's that time again. Time for some quickies. Stories where I didn't have a ton to say, but I wanted to mention here anyways. Every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. Really cool seeing a thing like this popping up nowadays, and the concept is Neato Burrito. Definitely weird how it just kinda happened as we're starting to find out all this weird stuff about Mario 64 though. Psychosis. Funny how an actually unnerving story was written where technically nothing happens, like, at all. Barney the Dinosaur. Well, points for it not being a typical, ooh, what if Barney was scary story, but it was just okay otherwise. The strangest security tape I've ever seen. Neat concept and neat execution, just a really solid story overall. The Showers. A really unique story that was actually really good, with the only minor problem being that one of the characters gets a little bit annoying. And finally, Tails Doll with a Gun. 10 out of 10 IGN. Would read again. So among the stories requested in the last video, I saw a strangely large amount of requests to cover a story called We Deleted You. And after reading it, well, it certainly was interesting. It starts with an employee working for Nintendo mysteriously dying after creating a Mii. A short time after, a kid gets a hold of the very same Wii, only to discover there's already a Mii created, a Mii called Edoled, which is delete backwards, which the story is sure to tell you over and over and over at every opportunity possible. Edoled gets pretty mad when he's deleted and decides the appropriate response is to brutally murder one of the kid's Miis right in front of him. After this, well, the story certainly gets interesting. A new kid gets the Wii and they start talking to Edoled, who's actually a really nice guy, except, you know, besides the whole Mii murder thing. Just forget about that, it's not important. Like, seriously though, this story goes from Edoled the scary Mii to Edoled therapy in no time. Like, it really wants you to feel bad for Edoled because he had a rough childhood. Like, that's just supposed to cover the whole sudden change from normal guy to psycho all the time. The story is also just super weirdly paced, has some strange phrasing for things.
See you later, Sam the psychopath. Will yelled as he was getting ready to jump out of my window.
And honestly, I wouldn't call it a good story. Would it sound crazy if I said I kinda liked it regardless? Like, it's not a well-written story, but man, there's just something so weirdly charming about its bizarre choices. It's a fun one to read, especially for someone like me who kinda likes the cringy, edgy stories. And hey, the creator, Icy Pie, actually wrote more than just this. I actually checked out some of his other work, namely his Creepypasta Substitute, which is actually super good, and you should definitely check that out. Regardless, I'm glad to see the guy improving after a charming but admittedly rough start. And that'll do it for part 4. Making these videos is always really fun. There's just something so enchanting about getting to focus on some creepy stuff every once in a while. But as far as next time goes, things are gonna get scary, but not in a good way. Look forward to part 5. And I hope you enjoyed the video or something.
Hey, so you mentioned something chasing you. What exactly was that?
Oh, it's horrible! What's chasing me is,